That's not going to happen.
He's dying.
Put
Your
down
hair's
all that
standing up
stuff.
on end on the top. Push your hair down a little bit.
This is Grandpa.
Push your hair down. It's standing up
You're
on end.
recording?
Okay, we're here today recording Gil Chisholm. In the room we have his grandkids, Travis, he's 16, Matthew, he's 12, Emily's 9. We have Lane, she's 29. I'm 41, that's Brian, and Althea. She's his wife of 40 plus years, even though she's only 39. So anyway, we want to get Grandpa and Dad's story on tape tonight, just so we can look back on it sometimes. So anyway, tell us about where were you born?
I was born in Houston.
You were born in Houston.
That's right, in Memorial Baptist Hospital right downtown.
Really? Is it still there?
No, they tore it down a few years ago.
What was your dad? What were your parents doing when you were born?
They had a business, sandwich business, you know.
Really?
Yeah, he sold sandwiches around Houston there. And
Who was working for him at the time?
my mother and her sisters and brother, they all worked for him. They lived at home in Houston there with Granny and Grandma.
Really? Grandma's a bunch of them lived in Houston.
Yeah, they all lived in Houston. The whole family lived there, and a bunch of them worked for my father.
You mean even Aunt Helen and Arlie?
Yeah, all of them did.
Really? I didn't know that.
And Millie.
Where do they live?
Well, a lot of them lived at home still. They were pretty young, you know. I don't think my mother was, when they got married, she was, I don't know how old she was.
She's probably 23 or 24, I think.
Yeah, she wasn't really young.
She's a little bit older.
And Helen and them were younger.
How long had they been married when they had you?
I don't know, buddy. Let's see. I was born in 1932, and they must have got married in 30 in the 20s sometime.
Is that right?
He came down there in 1922. He was in Miami in 22, then he came down there, and they came over to Houston, and went back and forth a time or two. They probably got married in 1928 or 29 or something like that.
Where did they meet? Do you
I don't have any idea.
Really? You don't know what he was granddad from Birmingham?
Yeah, right, from Birmingham. He was, he just started they started that business. They had a similar business in Florida, and then he started one in Houston. He's had the first sandwich business in Houston, wrap sandwiches like that.
Really?
Yeah. And but all the Robbins family lived down there, because I know Aunt Bern, all of them lived down there.
Right.
Yeah.
What, you said Granddad came to Houston in the 20s from Florida. What was that guy's name that he knew? I went over their house at the time, visited with them. The guy.
Otto? What else? Hugo.
Yeah, Hugo, yeah.
Hugo, I forgot Hugo's last name. But he was one of his partners.
He was a partner in business.
In business, yeah, but then, and then Daddy sold out. He didn't want to stay in there or something like that, and let Hugo keep the business. He kept it there in Houston for a long time. Eventually sold it to Regal or somebody.
And what's the story about him running rum and across from the Bahamas or something?
Oh, that was done I used to say he did that down in Florida when he was in Miami.
Right.
He was down there when the big hurricanes hit in 1922. You know, if you hear about them talking about old-time hurricanes, 22 and 23, they had some real bad storms in Miami. And they washed ships up on the beach and all that stuff.
Right.
He was down there then.
So do you think your parents met in Houston?
Yeah, I know they did.
We don't have any idea what Grandma was doing there. I mean, she lived with her family.
Yeah, she lived at home, right?
Oh, okay. Okay. I get
They were, and they were just looking for jobs. They worked, and he had a business. They worked for him.
Huh.
He supported that family off and on for years.
Yeah, as long as he had a business, huh?
Well, yeah, and then later on after the war, they started that business in Corpus Christi, and you know, and Aunt Helen and them had one in San Antonio. All that came from Daddy's original idea.
So he had a business, and then Aunt Arlie had her own business.
Yeah, well, right, but she learned it from him.
Right. Did anybody else have one?
Yeah, Aunt Helen and them had one in San Antonio. Uncle Bud had one in San Antonio. I worked for him for a while. Aunt Burr Had one down in Corpus, and one that Daddy helped, and Daddy and Uncle Barron started after World War II. And we had one in Corpus Christi before World War II also. That was where he really making the money. I mean, he had so much money you couldn't believe. Oh yeah, new cars and every other damn thing.
He always drove Cadillacs, right?
No, he didn't. He didn't like to drive flashy cars. He had one later that his sister gave. I think Craig gave him that car.
That's good.
They had that business down in Sunnyvale and Corpus Christi when they were building Brown Route. When Brown Route was building the naval station.
Right.
And he had the concession for all stands, all refreshment stands, drink stands. They didn't have machines and all like they have nowadays. Everything had to have a stand there with an operator, and he supplied all the good and had all the people hired and everything. He had the sole concession, you know, and he just got tired of messing with it and went to San Antonio, and we moved to San Antonio in 1941, huh?
That could have been a big deal then.
Oh, hell yeah, are you kidding?
Naval Air Station would be not even enormous.
Yeah, if they kept those sole concession rights, you know, they could. But he always felt like that, well, I don't know, he hated the stock market, for example. That stuff like Matthew and I were doing today, he hated that.
Really?
Yeah, he didn't. He's always hoped for a crash. He thought the stock market was just run by the money people up in New York trying to get money out of normal everyday people and all. He didn't like that at all. And he always had this depression mentality, you know, he didn't want to buy any land, do anything permanent because of, always thought things were going to crash again.
Right. What was, his name, his full name was Gillington Chisholm?
Yeah.
And his father's name?
Skillington also, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was a dentist, his father was a dentist.
Oh, okay.
And he went off and left my father and my father's mother and I guess his older sisters and all. He went off and left them, went to Mexico with his what?
Secretary.
Secretary.
Worked his
From
office.
his dentist
Somebody,
office.
yeah, from his dentist office. Went to Mexico and got lined for gold or something. I guess that was my grandfather on Chisholm's side, yeah.
Did you ever meet any of your, how many aunts and uncles did you have?
Oh,
Not
yeah.
on your mother's side, on your father's side?
Yeah, I had several of them. Yeah, Aunt Corinne. She lived up in Brevard, North Carolina. Matter of fact, she was real big had something to do with the National Girl Scouts.
Really?
Yeah.
When did she pass away?
I don't know. Probably in the early 70s.
Oh.
She's the one that gave him gave him the mineral rights on that land down there by Matagorda too, Matagorda County.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she gave it to him. He gave it to me.
How'd she end up with those?
Well, they own the land. Them and some other people. They own that land, and down there's 400 acres right down on this side of Bay City. And so they said that, you know, it was some promoter sold it to this group of people from the north, and I guess that promoter thought he really pulled a slipping on those Yankees or whatever, but I guess they did the last laugh because of the oil rights and all that stuff.
Right, no kidding. She lived in North Carolina and owned land in Texas?
Yeah, she lived in North Carolina in the summertime and New Orleans in the winter. And Uncle Lewis, he came down to Corpus and lived with us one time. That was his older brother, and Uncle Jim, he lived in Chicago. I guess he had two brothers and Corinne. Yeah, I met all of them. And then my cousins, they all lived in New Orleans, Buddy Chisholm and Jimmy
Oh, that was
Chisholm.
your cousin?
Yeah, he was my first cousin.
Really? Okay.
And Jimmy Chisholm.
Is he still alive?
I don't know, I haven't talked to them. I don't keep up with them anymore. Daddy used to keep up with
They
them.
came to our house one time when we were little.
Yeah, right.
Visited them in Houston somewhere. They were visiting with somebody.
Yeah.
Jimmy lived in Houston for a while.
Yeah, Jimmy did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Buddy would come visit him.
We went over there, right?
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
did.
But the interesting family legend on the Chisholm side is that, you know, I had Uncle Lewis, and his name was Lewis Clark Chisholm, and if you go back and look at all these Chisholms, you see a lot of Chisholms named Lewis Clark, and the story goes that you know, after Meriwether Lewis came back from his big expedition, he just kind of fumbled around for a couple of years and didn't ever write that stuff up that he was supposed to write up, you know, with notes and everything. And he went out and it was out in St. Louis and the governor of the territory out there, and he didn't, but he got in a lot of political battles, so Jefferson told him to come back to Washington and write those damn notes up. He got tired of messing around with him. And so when he was coming back, he started down the Mississippi from St. Louis, and then he got down a ways and decided, no, he's gonna get off the boat and come on back by land, and he came up the Natchez Trace. And that's where he committed suicide on, you know, and I'm sure that's where he supposedly had spent the night in a Chisholm house. Somebody called, we have all these ancestors named Lewis, Chisholm, and Clark Chisholm, and all these Lewis and Clark stuff, and I'm sure that's what happened was he stated, that's where he went, that's where Meriwether Lewis went through, that was the old family story, that he had spent the night in one of our ancestors' house on the Natchez Trace. And when I read that book by Stephen Ambrose, it made sense, because he did do that, that's what happened. He committed suicide there in Tennessee. And so that's his family story in the Chisholm side. And of course, we get that stuff where the Yankees came and stayed in one of the Chisholm's place, and how many, you know, barrels of corn they took, and how many cattle and all that stuff. We get that.
The claim against the federal government after the war, right?
Right, that's written down somewhere. You got it somewhere. Or Chloe had it.
And we have this recorded.
Chloe's got it.
Huh?
I think Chloe's got it.
No, you got it. Well, so anyway, after I was born in Houston, then we went to, we lived there 2 or 3 years, and he decided to start a business somewhere else. We went to Oklahoma City. We lived in Oklahoma City for a few months, but the health department gave such a hard time he couldn't make a go of it. I remember living there as a little kid. I had a BB gun. I tried to cock it, and I closed it on my hand and cut my hand real bad. I remember that. And
where was Chloe born?
she's born in Houston. Well, I'm going to tell you, we went on up to Colorado. One time we lived in Colorado Springs. Then Mama got pregnant with Chloe, and she had to come back and have Chloe in Houston with the same doctor, so we came back to Houston. And then we went back up to Colorado again, as I recall.
Where in Colorado?
Well, one time we lived in Denver. I think that's when I was littler. Then we lived in Colorado Springs. I remember living there. We lived right across the street from a railroad track where they used to have the gold train used to come down out of the mountains. Yeah, and you can walk along the railroad track and pick up gold ore. You know, you can see the little flecks in there, kind of like that fool's gold stuff. But I never get to figure out, because when the trains went up, they'd have 4 or 5 engines. And when they came down, they only had 1. I figured there was a place up on top of that mountain that was covered with the train engines.
Yeah, you think so. So in a matter of about 3 or 4 years, you lived in Houston, Oklahoma City, Colorado, back in Houston.
Yeah, and I guess before Chloe was born, we lived in New Orleans too. So they used to tell family stories about me sitting on the floor in some house and killing ants one at a time with my finger. When I was a little kid. That was one old family story my mother used to tell everybody.
How many years are there between you and Chloe?
4.5. 4.5. Yeah.
That's a lot of moving around.
Yeah, well, family used to do that. People moved around a lot, and they always used to live with each other. I'm not sure that some of Mama's brothers and sisters weren't over in New Orleans with us. I think they were. I think Uncle Barry may have been. You know, they'd come and go in and out. When we lived in San Antonio there, after we left Corpus, we lived in San Antonio, Paul and them.
Now what year was this?
We moved there in 41, stayed there till about 48 or 49. I went all the way through school there, but Paul and David and his mother and father, they all lived in a little, think about the size of that garage you had down there in the valley.
Right.
Little 1-room shack out there, and attached to the garage. The whole family had 5 kids, they all lived out there.
I looked at that place one time, didn't we?
Yeah, 'cause they
I was on Hackberry somewhere.
no, it was all over, no, all over South Flores.
Right, okay.
But Paul and them, they make Uncle Ed like he was such a paragon of virtue to all, and he was actually come right down. He was pretty worthless. He didn't ever support his family. It never worked.
Who supported him?
Well, later on, he tried farming there, you know, during the war, and he lived in a farm that ain't all of them owned.
Out in LaGrange?
Yeah.
What years was that?
Oh, that was during the war, 42, 43.
Oh, y'all were living in San
We lived in
Antonio?
San Antonio, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, Aunt Helen did the best she could, and kept everything going. Uncle Ed, he never really did that much business. They had that business after they left Corpus. You know, we all had business out in Corpus, and they left Corpus and went down to up San Antonio, and
They made a good go.
they had good
They
money.
had antiques and
They
everything.
made good money in that business, but Uncle Ed didn't. He would go out and spend it all over down there.
What year was this?
This was in the 50s.
Oh, okay. So this is after you'd always joined the service.
Yeah, after I'd gone on service, yeah.
But they still had younger kids, because most of those kids were younger than you were.
Yeah, they were all of them. Well, anyway, we lived in San Antonio, and I went through high school. I spent my last year living in a boarding house across the street from Breckenridge High School.
Really?
Yeah, well, I wanted to play in the Breckenridge band, and so I had to live in that school district. And I quit Harlandale. The band director recruited me to come over and play in his band.
Really?
Yeah, in a way, I'm sorry I did it because I didn't graduate with all my friends from Harlandale, but on the other hand, I got to play in the all-city band, the all-region band, the all-state band, all those things. I played the Trinity University band, St. Mary's band, the Jefferson High School band. They got in the state playoffs, and Breckenridge didn't, so they needed some trombone players, so we went over there, rode the train up to Dallas to a football game, played with them.
Really?
Yeah, I played in all those different bands. I mean, that was something nowadays, you know, to be an all-state band is quite a deal.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. My mother, I don't think she ever saw me play once. She just wasn't into keeping up with all the things I was doing. The funniest thing, I got to tell you this funny story though. It happened in the all-city band. And we didn't have any music. The trombone section, I was in the second or third trombone section, I forget. So anyway, we were sitting back here in the back, you know, and the band was playing, the director was going, and we were going, mom, you know, just making things up. And all of a sudden the whole band stopped, that director pointed right at us. And we said, we don't have any music. He said, well, what have you been playing all along? We said, well, we've just been kind of playing along. That was the funniest thing.
He must have thought, what I got all over here.
Yeah, he just pointed. We were supposed to have a solo right then.
You know, go, boom, boom, boom.
That was so funny.
Also, you left Harlandale to go to Breckenridge. You didn't
To
move
play in the band.
just because you were recruited to go over there.
Yeah, I wasn't playing the band, and in that way, I'm glad I did it. We got a trip to Chicago
For what?
to play in the March of the Parade in Chicago. The Breckenridge band did. It was an excellent band.
How did you get up to Chicago?
We went by bus. Drove us up there. It took 2 or 3 days to get up there. Yeah, that was a nice trip.
Huh, yeah, it sounded like a fun trip.
Yeah, and we ran all around Chicago there, and then we marched in the parade, and everybody said, "Oh, look, there's some band from Texas and all, you know, marching down there."
Yeah, that was exciting.
It was fun. Yeah, they did good.
Who were your best friends in high school?
Oh, I don't know. I had this Byron Felder, this kid named Byron Felder. Then I had one boy named Lyndon Schultz, good German boy. He was a saxophone player. He got drunk, made first chair in an all-state band. First chair alto sax, drunker than a skunk. I mean, first chair in an all-state band.
He had no fear.
No, he didn't, man. He just played the hell out of that alto sax. I was last year, I think, in the trombone section.
Really? Did you
Yeah.
start in the band in junior high, or did they start in high school?
It started in junior high, I think.
Really?
I think I started off playing baritone. I switched to trombone.
Baritone sax?
No, baritone.
Oh.
Just baritone,
Oh.
bass. It's like
My bad.
It's like a small tuba, isn't it? Kind of.
well, yeah,
Oh, baritone, okay.
yeah, essentially it has a big bell like that, but it has the same size mouthpiece as the trombone.
Yeah.
If you can play it. It plays the same notes in a lot of cases. But, yeah, let's see. Yeah, I started playing in junior high, or maybe 6th grade, I don't know, maybe 7th grade.
Really?
But that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And my friend Byron, he was the one that taught me to come over to Brackenridge. And well, in that band directory, you know, and I got scholarship offers too. I got offers to play in the Office of Trinity. To come out there on a scholarship playing the band.
Trinity University in St.
Yeah. I went on a trip with them down when they played U of H. Came down to Houston.
Football?
Yeah, played the Trinity band. But see, that band director was in all these things. So everywhere he went, he'd bring a bunch of us boys to go along to play and, you know, kind of prop up the band.
That's when you were at Brackenridge.
Yeah, we took a football trip to Houston to play U of H and played on Robertson Stadium. I'm not sure U of H was a junior college at the time.
That's pretty
But it was a small school anyway. And we played, I went with St. Mary's band down to Seguin to play Texas Lutheran.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Did you have a car in high school?
Yeah, I had that Model A. I worked all summer long my junior year and bought that Model A for $100 in Bush. My stepdad and I overhauled the engine, and I drove that thing all my senior year. It was a wonderful car. It was an old Model A sedan, black.
Huh.
You know, with mechanical brakes. When you slam on the brakes, they just shudder all over like that.
What year did your parents divorce?
I don't know. Daddy went off and worked after we left Corpus. He went off and worked for this civilian combine of contractors that were building bases out in the Pacific. And if you read anything about the war in the Pacific, there was some of the POWs were civilian contractors.
Really?
Yeah, and they had a combine. Brown and Root and Morrison Nixon and a bunch of big contractors, and they went and so he was working on building bases in the Aleutian Islands. And when he came back from there in 1944, 45, whenever it was, they got divorced.
So you and Grandma stayed in San Antonio.
Yeah, we stayed in San Antonio, right?
And he moved, or?
Well, no, he stayed in San Antonio for a while. Or he had a cafe. He and Uncle Bud opened a cafe over in East Carver Street. That was fun. We'd go to that cafe over there all the time. He would sell hamburgers and all that stuff to people traveling on the road.
Really?
Yeah.
So he would. So you still saw him a lot.
Oh yeah, he was always around. Yeah, he gave me money and everything.
Really?
Yeah, sure. Then he went down to Corpus, see, and that's when I got out of high school. I went down to Corpus Christi and worked for him for a while. But then, my mother had moved to Portland by then, actually in Vancouver, Washington. I went up there and stayed with her for a while. I worked in the Jansen knitting mills and salmon fishing in the rivers and all that kind of stuff like that. Then I came back down to Corpus, and that's when I joined the Marines, and the rest is history.
What kind of relationship did you have with your father?
Oh, I got along pretty well with him. I never fought with him or anything. He was kind of in or out, you know. He wasn't always around.
Right. Did he drink like?
Are you kidding?
Back then, like you?
When he was down here in Houston, when they first got married, he used to drink a fifth of whiskey a day.
Really?
And he was playing basketball and all that stuff. He played on the AAU things and all. Yeah, he drank a lot.
All your life he was like that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it really didn't matter to me. I didn't pay much attention to it.
No.
Yeah, didn't matter. But he what was I going to say? He would go off, and well, like when Harlandale was got in the playoffs a couple of years there, he would come to those out-of-town games, come up from Corpus Christi, and he would always be drinking, and he would go to the local, he would go around and try to get people to bet on the games and everything. Betting on high school football used to be a big deal in Texas. Oh yeah. People, before they had all this stuff like the NFL and all that, they bet on high school games.
Huh.
He'd go get drunk, bet $100 there, or a couple $100 stuff. Yeah, he was a gambler. But he did always kind of felt like he felt, you know, he didn't have a sixth grade education or something like that, but he was a good businessman, you know. He had that business in Austin, was good, when David and Paul lived there with him. And he,
that was in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, we went up there in 57. But anyway, he drank beer then. Well, he drank whiskey every now and then, but.
But y'all got along pretty well.
Yeah, we got along all right. He gave us money. Your mother didn't like to take it. When I worked for him, when I was going to college there, and we moved out of Houston, actually for less than I was making there in Austin when I was going to school, counting the GI Bill, and he would let me write checks on his account, and if we got really desperate, I'd go write a $50 check. Your mother never did like me to do that.
This was in 60, 61 when we moved to Houston?
Yeah, when we moved to Houston, yeah. After we lived out there on Manchac Road.
What kind of relationship did you have with your mom?
Oh, we were on good terms.
Growing up, I mean.
Yeah, oh yeah, sure. Well, she was spoiled me. I was spoiled rotten.
Is that right?
Yeah. Just like Chloe was.
Both of you?
Oh yeah, just like Gay Lee did with her kids. Chloe did that. Gay Lee did. But I was, yeah, I got along with my mother, and we liked to have her. She came over to visit us. You remember her coming over, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
She come visit us, stay with us, and all. She had ideas about things, but
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
she wasn't afraid to let you know about it.
Yeah, she wasn't going to get along,
No.
So when you moved to Corpus and then you decided to join the Marine Corps,
Yeah.
what prompted you to do that?
Oh, I was just sick of staying around. I started college, and then the last 6 weeks running around chasing girls, messing around. I had no structure in my life.
Right.
So I felt like I needed it, so I joined the Marines, and I got, suddenly I got a real structure. I mean, I told what time to get up, what time to go to bed, when to go to the bathroom, when to brush my teeth, every other damn thing.
You got more structure than you had.
More structure than I ever wanted.
What was boot camp like?
Well, it was pretty bad. You know, there was a few, I think there were about 4 or 5 guys. The first night we were there, 4 or 5 guys, the very first day of active drill training, I think at least a half dozen, maybe not a half dozen, but 5 or so guys that had epileptic seizures down in the head that night. They were under such stress and strain and physical wear and tear and everything. There was quite a few of them. Of course, they were all gone.
So they just get the.
They're out, yeah.
Well, I did ask you something, going back a little bit, what happened on your leg? What was that disease you had on your leg?
Oh, osteomyelitis. Yeah, I got that when I started school in 1939 or 40.
First grade?
No, it may have been later. I started school in 39, but I think I got that later because, well, I don't know. Anyway, I got bruises on my legs learning to ride a bicycle. And I can't believe I didn't know how, but of course, we started this school, I guess, I don't know. I was 7 years old in 1939. You'd think I know how to ride a bicycle by then, but I guess I didn't.
Yeah, where were you living then?
In Corpus Christi.
Okay.
On Air Street. You know, we walked through the fields and through the subdivision all over to Minger Elementary. That was of course you go back there now and I can't believe I walked that far. And I can't believe, of course it's all built up, but Minger's still there.
Is it?
School's still there.
It is?
Oh yeah.
So you bruised your legs and what happened?
Well, you got they call it infection of the bone. And somehow or other you get an infection anterior to your skin and everything, and pieces of bone kind of flake off and everything. And Uncle Bud had gotten that, and that's how he lost his leg. See?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had heard it moving milk cans around down in Houston, and he got osteomyelitis. They cut his leg off. So my mother was just terrified when I got that, and I was going to lose my leg. But they went in and scraped the bone, cleaned it up and everything. I guess I was young enough that it didn't lose my leg.
That prevents.
They didn't have polio. Oh, they didn't have penicillin or anything.
Right. That did. Oh, nowadays they just treat it with antibiotics.
Oh yeah, nowadays it's nothing.
Okay. Yeah. So really, I mean, did that prevent you from playing sports, or did you not?
Yeah, that didn't. I couldn't play football or anything like that. Because, and as a matter of fact, they offered to let me out of the Marine Corps when they found out about it.
Really?
Yeah, they called me in there. I've been in boot camp about 3 weeks, and they said, look, we're not sure you can go through the training with this leg like this and all that stuff. And you really sure you want to do this? And I said, oh, hell yeah, I'm doing it now. I'll just stick with it. So I stayed in. I had a chance to get out.
Had 3 weeks under your belt.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have done anything. I mean, 3 weeks.
It didn't really slow you down any?
No, not as far as running.
That's good.
I gained weight when I was in boot camp. I was weight 155 when I went in and 165 when I came out. Those guys lost weight.
Huh.
I went into this guy from Corpus Christi, this big fat Mexican kid, and he had LVE written on his fingers, and then well, they got on that guy. I mean, they give him some real hell. So, Chuco, you don't have your gang out here with you now, boy. We're gonna whip your ass, blah, blah, blah. They're gonna do all this stuff. They give him more hell. You can't believe it. You don't know what boot camp was like. Go see Full Metal Jacket. Did you see that movie? The first half? Right now, not too long after we saw that, we were having dinner with Bob Hayes and his wife and Bill Hammock and Nancy, and we got someone out of the subject. That movie came up with those guys who neither one of them ever been in the military. They said, "Oh, that movie was no good. That wasn't realistic. It wasn't like that." I looked at them. I said, "You guys don't know what the hell you're talking about." I went to see that movie, and I came out. I was traumatized. Man, I mean, I was ready to go kill somebody when I walked out of that movie. I mean, I felt like it for a week. You know, the Marines, they give you the idea that you're so tough and you got to do this, do that, and you think, and I can see how people have to get into war because you think, how the hell can I be a Marine and be that's a badass Marine and go back home and get out of service and go back home and start selling cars or something? I mean, it's really a come down from all that stuff they pump you full of.
Right.
You know, and so that was but you don't ever get over that stuff. I mean, it kind of sticks with you.
So if you had, I mean, what was you told me a story one time about you didn't shave close enough or something and they were...
Oh yeah, I'm probably not like I am right now. They make you dry shave and do a double time with a bucket over your head.
With a straight edge?
Yeah, no, not a straight edge. Oh, a razor. Yeah. Oh yeah, they would do stuff like that. They beat me up once, hit me in the stomach because I wasn't doing something wrong. I never did figure out what I was doing wrong. And they just kept hitting me. I'd fall down, get up again.
They were pretty rough. So after you get out of boot camp, after you survived...
This one guy though, I gotta tell you, this one guy was in there with me. Those people our family would send packages, you know, cookies or candy or something like that. Pogey bait, we call it. We were Pogey bait Marines. Anyway, this guy was in there with me. He'd been drafted. It was a friend of mine, though, and he got a package. His wife sent him a package, so the drill instructors called him down to their hut. I mean, you know, we were scared to go down there. They called him down there, and they said, "What the hell, all this stuff? Yeah, damn Pogey bait Marine. They were throwing it out here. Hey, you want something like this?" They throw it out, and everybody else is eating it, and then they read the letter, and look at what he said, and they were laughing. He was so mad. He came back later, he says, "Look," he says, "I want you to help me." He says, "I want to kill Corporal so-and-so." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "I want to kill son of a bitch. We're going to kill him." I said, it'd be real easy to do. We'll just catch him at night and just take him from him off one of these cliffs, and nobody will ever know who did it. And if you help me, we'll just go to it. I said, "Are you kidding me? I want to go kill some drill instructor."
He was a little exercised.
He was pretty exercised over his package from home.
So the part about the guy killing the guy in Full Metal Jacket probably happened there once in a while.
Oh yeah, sure. Or he killed. Well, that kid shot himself in the boot camp. He committed suicide.
Oh, the one in the movie?
In the movie, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and that's a little extreme. But other than that, that whole thing was just almost the way it was. But boot camp wasn't all bad. It was fun. I was telling you about the other day. They had like 75 guys in a platoon, and when those platoons would just first start out, I mean, the guys were shuffling around and fumbling, bumbling, and all, man, you know, And they, by the time they were ready to go home, they've been there 3 months. I mean, they snapped to, man. They marched and they were right perfect straight up down those lines, and it was, you know, it was really exciting to hear those guys. I love to hear those guys call it cadence. That is so thrilling. And that, man, those platoons, they would really be sharp.
Huh.
You know, and shooting in the rifle range, that was fun. I made the high score in my platoon.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Uh-huh.
I never told you that. Yeah, because I made a high score on Wednesday. I made a good score, and the drill instructor got me in there, and he says, Chisholm, if you don't make the highest score this Friday, I'm gonna kick your ass, or something. I don't forget what he said. It scared me so bad that I did it. I went out and made an expert, and the highest score was 228 out of 250.
Really?
Yeah, and that was the highest score. We had a bunch of stuff, an iron and a few other things that the platoon and all brought together. I got all that stuff. I won prizes.
Really?
Yeah.
They were pretty proud of that, huh?
Yeah, that was pretty.
I mean, they were, what, I mean, is there anything else in boot camp that stands out?
The other thing is the fact that I'll never forget when they give us our orders, and they would go down the list, you know, Jones, Smith, or whatever, alphabetical order, and every guy almost, they say Camp Pendleton. That means you're going to go to Camp Pendleton for 3 more months of training, then you're going to go to Korea, because the Korean War was going on at the time. And I'll be damned, they got down to me and they said, Cherryport, North Carolina. I said, what the hell is that? And, oh man, you're lucky you don't have to go to Camp Pendleton. And I never even dawned on me, those guys could have gone over and got shot.
Yeah.
That was before the Trojan Reservoir deal.
Right.
And
A lot of them did get shot.
A lot of them did, I'm sure they did. And so, luckily enough, they sent me to Cherry Point, and then...
How many guys out of is it your platoon that they were?
Yes. Well, it was a company, it was 200-something guys.
Most of them got?
Oh, yeah, 90% of them, 95%, yeah. I happen to make a high score on my test and all, so they're gonna put me as an electronics technician. But they never sent me to school, so.
They were drafting at the time too, right?
Yeah, right.
I didn't realize they had drafted in Korea.
Well, what about
Oh,
the
yeah.
nav cats? How did that start?
Well, that was later on, because I made those high scores on my test. I applied for this naval cadet training stuff. And I took these tests, and I took the physicals, and I went over there, and they checked my eyes and ears and all that stuff, and I took the physicals, and they went in there and took some more tests and all, and finally took the physicals again, and this went on for about 6 or 8 months, and they came back and they said, well, we're going to ask for a waiver. You're 1 point low on this one test, and we're going to ask for a waiver. And I said, good. And so they sent it off, and they came back. And if I'd have passed, I'd have gone to naval cadet training at Pensacola and been an officer. You know? I would have gone to OCS and naval cadet training and all that stuff and been a pilot. But they said,
for pilot training?
yeah, naval cadet.
Really?
Yeah. And they said, well, I came back and they want you to take this test over again. They won't give you a waiver. And I said, well, the hell with it. Because if I'd have stayed in, see, then by that time I had 2 years in the service.
Right.
And if I'd have stayed in, if I'd have taken that NAVCAT stuff, I had to sign up for another 3 years. And I said, oh, the hell with it. I don't want to put another 4 years in the Marine Corps. And, forget it. And you can't get married or anything like that.
Oh, in the NAVCAT?
No, you couldn't. You had to be single.
Huh.
So I let it go.
That was one chance to be a Navy pilot, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably miss the carrier and fall off in the ocean or nothing.
Your mother didn't like it because
No,
she lived out Corpus.
She wasn't in favor of it.
She's 100% against it.
Well, she lived in Corpus, and there was
Pilots.
pilots were always crashing out around there. You know, advanced pilot training in Corpus.
Right. At the Naval Air Station.
Yeah, right. And she wasn't in favor of it at all.
So in 50, I mean, this is still in 50, right?
50, no, this is 52.
No, but I mean, when you got out of the boot camp.
50. No, I went in December of 51. And well, I will tell you one thing about going on maneuvers. We had this damn, I was in this radar outfit, you know, and this is in Florida, and we were at Cherry Point, and then they said, we're going to set up this unit in Miami, Florida. And so I volunteered to go on that. And it was good. That was good duty down there. I mean, they had all the hotels were out there trying to get the guys to come out and all. They wanted to, they'd love to have those Marines down there. Anyway, We had a big unit out by the end of the runway. It was what they called GCA, Ground Control Approach Radar, and we worked on that damn thing. We worked on it. We finally got it working. They said, all right, we're going to Puerto Rico, Roosevelt Roads, on maneuvers. So we said, oh shit. So we took it all down and everything, packed it up.
Oh, you take that one with you?
Oh, hell yeah, I took the radar. I ain't kidding. We took all that stuff with all those tents and all that stuff. And went down there on a ship, on a troop ship, and I found out why the Marines hate the Navy, the way they treat you on a ship. And I thought all along that was just a bunch of bull, but they really do hate the Navy. And vice versa. The Navy hates the Marines because the Marines are guards on the gates and everything.
So once you got through, you hated the Navy too?
Yeah, I hate the Navy here, I still do. Anyway, we got down to Roosevelt Roads, and we had this big area, and we had our tents and our radar deals, and we set that thing up. We worked on that thing for 3 months to get it working, and finally got it working. They said, all right, the maneuvers are started. And I'll be damned, the very next day, this airplane flew over and dropped this sack of flour right in the middle of our...
Right in the middle of your radar installation?
Right in the middle of our compound. They said, well, you guys are out of the maneuvers. And we were out by the, another funny thing that happened was, we were out by the end of the runway. And Roosevelt Roads Naval Air Station is one end is out over the water, the other end goes up this mountain. Man, I mean, that, those pilots, when they took off that direction, they really had to hook it. But anyway, they had this Navy Navy boat out there that was supposed to recover pilots if they went out in the ocean. So damn, one of them takes off. One day, a couple of them took off. I forget what they were propeller-driven planes. And one of them crashed in the swamps between the end of the runway and the water. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a place, you know, maybe 1,500 acres, or, you know, it's not real big.
Right.
So we all run down there. There's a plane there is in one piece, you know. And we all run down there, and there's the Marines that are down there, the Navy guys down there, the other pilots are down there, you know, and everybody's walking around going, what the hell's a pilot? You know, they can't find a pilot. Finally, one of these other pilots looks at this guy who's walking around with us, you know. And he said, well, Joe, we thought you were flying that plane. I said, well, shit, that was you. And he out there, and he gets out of the plane, and he's walking around looking.
He didn't want to admit that he was the one flying.
I don't know if it was that or he was just Dr. Lupier or what. Anyway, he saw everybody else walk around, he's walking around too. I go, you know,
I'll find that guy.
That's typical military stuff that you don't hear about, you know, when you read about all these generals and all their strategy and all that stuff, but there's more stuff like that, like that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, well, hold on, I'll make sure I get this chronology right.
All right.
At 51, you enter the Marine Corps.
Right.
And you get out of boot camp, you go to Cherry Point, and then just chronologically, how long did you stay there?
Oh, not very much, 2 or 3 months.
In training, but they didn't train you said?
No, they didn't train us, we just sat around and did nothing.
For 3 months?
Well, maybe a couple months, I don't know.
That was a pretty good relief after the boot camp.
Oh, yeah, that was a hell of a deal. We spent a lot of time over in the slop shoots, as we call it, drinking beer. And they had, K-Star had a song, "Oh, Wheel of Fortune," and they played that song over and over and over again. It was, oh, you ever know that song, honey? And, yeah, so then we went down to Miami, opened that base up, and they didn't have any hot water, so we had to take cold showers and everything, but it was wonderful. We had no guards on the gate or anything, we just had to...
What was the base down there?
Oh, out of Opelika. It was an old...
Naval base?
An Air Force base. I mean, it was an air base.
Oh, it was?
See, we're in the Marine Air, 3rd Marine Airway.
Oh, okay. So it was a Marine base?
Well, no, we opened it up. It was an old World War II base that had been shut down.
Oh, okay.
And we started opening it up, and we were working these barracks and clean them all up and get them going. And
oh, really?
all
Oh, so you opened the whole base up?
Yeah, right. And
for your air wing?
Yeah. So I stayed down there the rest of the time that I was in the Marine Corps.
Well, so you actually...
Except for one of the maneuvers.
You got pretty fortunate in your duty assignments, didn't you?
Oh, hell yes. Are you kidding? We had hit the beach every night. We fought the Battle of Miami Beach. That's what we called it.
So y'all go into town and look for girls?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was single. And you couldn't believe it. I mean, the hotels would call up over there and they say, so-and-so hotel has got free cabanas to all the Marines that want to come over, because all these school teachers and different girls would come down to Miami Beach from the north. And they like to have more men around. There wasn't enough men around, you know. So they were always trying to get us to come over there. And you could just cruise up and down Collins, what is it, Collins Avenue, huh? In Miami Beach there, and especially after I had this MGTD, and you just talk to girls, and we just, you know, even before I had a car, we'd go over there. And if they didn't have a place for us to stay in a car or whatever, we just chunk them off and get somebody else. I mean, they were, I mean, it was wonderful.
Just pick of the litter, huh?
Oh yeah, we sure did. And
what was how did you get around? Did you have a car when you were in the Marines? How'd you get from
yeah, I did.
Corpus Christi to the?
Well, I go on these hops, on these military hops.
Oh, okay.
I told you about that, you know. Get on these planes, they'd be flying back and forth. And one time I got a hop from Corpus Christi up to Washington, D.C. I don't know why I was going to Washington. I guess maybe I was going to go to Cherry Point. I probably hitchhiked down. We hitchhike a lot. Right. I got a hop once from San Antonio to Keesler Air Force Base in Mississippi, and then a hop from there to Valdosta, and then I hitchhiked to Tampa. Then I got a hop from MacDill Field over to Miami, and you know stuff.
Well, that's coming back.
Yeah. That was, things were a lot more casual in those days.
Sure.
You didn't worry about it. You go out to the base operation, if they had a plane go anywhere, you can just get on it. They'd let you go.
Huh.
You know, it's kind of fun.
So what ranks did you make it through on your, so you stayed in the Marines till
Yeah.
54?
Yeah, December '54. I was a sergeant, which I don't know what it is now. It's 3 stripes up.
Is that right?
Yeah, if I'd have stayed in, I could have gone higher. But I didn't want to do that. I was married by then.
So let's, getting to that point, so you're working the beaches in Miami Beach?
Yeah, right, and then I was started going with this girl from Grand Cayman, Olsey.
Where'd you meet her?
Well, I met her at a dance they had some kind of a dance somewhere, and they invited the Marines down there. And I went with her for a while, then I met your mother. Actually,
Where?
huh?
Where'd you meet her?
Well, we had been over to these Italian girls' apartment over in Miami Beach. They cooked us an Italian dinner, me and this other guy, and we were coming back home, and he said, "Oh, let's stop off and see these other girls here." They lived in Little River, which is all this black now.
Right.
And so we stopped off, he knew them, and that's where your mother lived, with some other girls, her friends. So I met her, and then we started going
I
out.
wasn't there when you first came. I came in later. I was been out on a date too, remember?
Anyway, yeah, we've been to see these other girls, Italian girls first, but they cooked pretty good, but they weren't too much on the looks or something. I don't know. Who knows?
So anyway, so y'all stopped by and you went by this other place to check out these other girls,
Yeah,
which she had to be there, or came in later,
Yeah, I guess.
and y'all met then.
yeah, and we started going out, yeah.
So you went home and called her later, or?
Oh, hell if I know, she called me out.
I wasn't even impressed. I came home, walked through, and went to bed.
No, you
Yes,
didn't.
I did.
Hold on,
You
this
stayed around there and try to trap me.
one interview at a time here.
It has to be a true story, though.
Well, yeah, we started going out. I went on back over to see her or whatever. We started going out, and we got married about 3 months later.
Oh, you only dated for 3 months?
Yeah, only 2 or 3 months, and we got married Christmas Eve in 1953, wasn't it?
And you met in like October?
Yeah, could be. Could have been that summer, I don't remember.
Do we have an opinion from the gallery?
It was about 3 months, yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. Slow down.
We have another gallery member that's stunned by the information. Doesn't make a difference to me.
I think marriages are just a kind of a random chance anyway, whether you go together for years or 2 days, whether or not you last, it's got to do with a lot of other things besides how long you went together.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with that.
But your mother finally talked me into it.
So
We had
anyway,
this Baptist preacher married us in his house.
oh, is that right?
Yeah, he left the marriage certificate blank
The year.
the year.
Because he thought,
He was doing us
He
a
You
favor.
thought-
thought it was a shotgun
shotgun
wedding?
wedding, and he left it.
Yeah.
Tell him I was showing it to Kimmy. I told Kimmy, I said, here, here's our wedding certificate. This shows that you were legitimate. And we looked at it, and the preacher left the year off, 19, and we put the year. You see, he knew Gil, he knew we had only gone together 3 months.
So how did you know this guy?
I went to church down there in Florida.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I was a big Baptist. You don't believe that?
No, I believe you. Did you go to church growing up in San Antonio?
Yeah.
All the way through high school?
Well, I don't think I went much when I was in high school, but I went when I was younger. We used to ride the bus. They had a school bus that came out and picked us up, took us over to church over there.
Where'd you go?
There's one there in Harlandale, right there in the,
Well, Harlandale Baptist?
yeah.
Huh.
Except when I would ride the bus over there and get off the bus and go play pool and then catch the bus home again.
Did you join the
Hour and a
church
half
over there?
later. Yeah, I belonged to that church.
What year was that?
Oh, I don't have any idea. I had my letter or whatever you call it.
You did? You went up front?
Sure.
You walked the aisle?
That's nothing to that. Allison used to do it every week.
So how old were you when you did that?
No, I don't have any idea, buddy.
You don't remember it?
I remember being baptized, but I don't remember how old I was. I was probably 14 or 15.
Oh, in high school?
Yeah, I was older, old enough.
Was that a revival or?
No, I wasn't in a revival. It was just one Sunday morning, and Spirit overcame me.
Huh.
That happens.
Yeah. So you had at the time, what you believed was a salvation experience.
I sure did. That's right.
And then you would continue to go to church when you were in Florida.
Yeah, off and on. I sure did, yeah.
So you knew this guy?
Yeah, so I knew this Baptist preacher, so we went down to his house on Christmas Eve. And just us and a friend of mine and a friend of your mother's, and it was a nice ceremony.
Who were they? I mean, do you still know them? Or?
I don't remember. She probably knows the names.
No.
Who they were.
Neither one of
You
them
know who they were, honey?
noticed each other. Huh?
Who were they?
Who?
Who was it? What
Janet Flick and Alan Bulldog.
Oh, Al Bulldog. Yeah, my
Yeah.
friend from Massachusetts. Yeah.
From Plymouth, Massachusetts. Yeah.
He was a Marine.
Yeah.
Oh, he stood in as your best man, basically?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he
It
was.
was a beautiful ceremony. It was all Christmas decorations, and his wife was there. She was the witness, I guess, or whatever. And
Al Bulldog. Yeah, I forget what name. We went to see him once when I was working in NASA.
Huh. So you got married, and then when did you get out of the Marine Corps?
December
Same time.
54. A year later.
Oh, a year later, okay, so you
Yeah, we had Kimmy by then, didn't we?
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, that's right.
for 10.5 months later.
Where did y'all move to?
Right down in Corpus, where's home?
No, I mean, I'm sorry, after you got married, where'd y'all live together?
Oh, we had a little apartment down behind these people's house in Miami, down there, not too far from Little River, what they call Little River. It was nice. It was about a nice old man and his wife.
Their baby had died, remember? They only had one child and she died.
No, is that right?
Yeah, a girl. And so they were really good to us. We came back from our honeymoon, there was cookies.
Where'd you go on your honeymoon?
West Palm Beach,
Palm Beach,
west.
West Palm Beach.
That's up the coast, right?
Yeah, it wasn't much of a honeymoon.
After you've been living in Miami Beach? More of the same? So, you packed up your MGB and the baby,
TD.
NTD?
Yeah, and took off for home and blew out an alternator and somewhere up by Lake Okeechobee. Alternator quit working, and we drove on the battery all the way to Mobile, because cars only had 6-volt systems at the time, and the MG had a 12-volt system.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't get the battery charged.
Really? Nobody had a charger for it?
Nobody knew how to charge it or anything, and so the last straw, when we came through that tunnel at Mobile, and I put the brakes on, and the car almost died because the battery was just, the brake lights just about did us in. But I managed to get into a filling station there at Mobile, and we got it charged there, and then went to New Orleans and got an MG dealer to replace all, saved my cousin, buddy in Elliott, his wife Elliott. Yeah.
Huh.
I think it's when we had Kimmy that we had, that was a different trip?
I was 5 months pregnant in that trip.
Oh, different trip.
Oh, okay. So, but you were driving back to Texas. That must have been a heck of a drive back then from Miami Beach to
That was a hell of a drive.
Corpus Christi, Texas, with no
Had you ever
interstates.
been 5 months pregnant, huh?
I drove it a couple times by
No.
myself. I couldn't even remember them, especially like they usually work. I
Now
gotta take
you
a
know why
break.
we're so weird.
Oh, were y'all married before you?
Working.
Kimmy was born in November 1954.
Right, in the Jewish hospital.
And it's just the two of y'all.
Yeah.
Not a lot of family.
We went
around.
fishing, right. We went fishing that evening, underneath one of the bridges, and then went back home about 11 o'clock. Your mother started having labor pains, and ran over to Mount Sinai Hospital or whatever it was in Miami Beach, and
St. Francis.
intern delivered Kimmy, because the doctor wasn't there.
Uh,
But the military made it up, that was where we went.
the military did what?
They paid for all this.
Oh, right, because you were still in the service.
Yeah.
And you got in the service in December? She was born in November?
Yeah.
So
Went
then,
to Corpus. Went to work. Started Delmar a year or so later.
started working for your dad?
Yeah. Worked for him and started going to college at Delmar. Then he moved to Austin in the meantime and set up a business, and so 1957, I'd taken all the classes I could take at Delmar, and we moved to Austin, and I went to the University of Texas.
Anything else happened when you lived in Corpus?
Huh? What?
Anything else happened when you lived in Corpus?
No.
Gil.
What? Oh, that's right. Our second kid was born. Nothing I remember.
Nothing dramatic.
Well, I remember I was getting ready to go goose hunting. I know you've heard this story 100 times. We went all the way down South Potty Island down, trying to get shells and goose stamps and all this stuff, and then we go to bed, and about 3 o'clock in the morning, your mother wakes me up and says, "I think I'll have a labor pain." And I said, "Oh, just go back to sleep. I'm going goose hunting. This is too early." I said, must be that peanut butter sandwich you ate." Well, sure enough, she had the,
That's what he
This
said.
must have been the morning of November 11th, 1956?
I guess it was, but now that you recall. Saturday morning, yeah. And we go down and she has you, and it's still dark. So I told those nurses, I said, I think I'll just go ahead and go on my goose hunt. They said, "You just had a baby here." I said, "Well, there's nothing I can do. What should I hang around here?"
Did you
But
go goose hunting?
No, I didn't go. I stayed there.
Like a good dad.
Yeah, like I did.
So back then, though, they kept you at the waiting room and all that stuff, right? You couldn't go in and...
Oh, yeah, you had to wait out in the waiting room. You couldn't do anything. I'll tell you what else we had. We had another boy, your mother had a miscarriage of that baby, which would have been, it would have been saved nowadays. He was about 6.5 months old, I think. And I saw him, they carried him through the waiting room.
Oh, now, when was he born?
Between you and Kimmy.
I mean, do you remember what the date was?
Yeah, September, like September the 9th.
55?
Yeah,
Yeah, right,
55,
a year
yeah.
before you were born. Yeah, and he was, they said, well, his lungs just weren't developing, and he just died. But nowadays, they can put him in respirators and all that stuff and get stuff into it. He was full,
Yeah,
fully
6.5
shaped.
months is...
Yeah, he was big kid, I saw him. Looked like a normal baby to me. And he's buried down there in that cemetery there in Corpus Christi, right? The one, same one where Granny and Bert and all them were buried.
Have you ever been able to find his site?
We never gone back and looked for it, buddy. I used to have a thing with it written on there, but I thought about trying to get his body and get his remains and move it up to the plot there in Dickinson.
Right.
Because we got 4 spaces in Roberts and one of them, we can put that baby in the other one.
Sure.
And the one that I can take the other 2, I guess.
What,
But I never got it.
did he have you had a stone for him?
A stone?
Yeah.
No. No, we didn't have a stone.
I mean, something in the ground or a metal marker or what?
I think the funeral home had records, that's all we had. But we had a funeral for him. I don't know. Do you know him?
No, last time, we did go find it one time, and it did just have a little metal thing on it.
Yeah.
Did y'all give him a name?
No. See, I was so knocked out, it was all over before I knew what was...
Really?
They'd give me so much medication for... My eyes couldn't even focus for a week. And I mean, they didn't do like they do now. I mean, it just...
Was it Chisholm baby or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't even, nowadays, they'd let the mother sit and do all that stuff, and they would like kind of keep it a secret from me. They wouldn't even I mean, it was really strange.
Yeah, a couple of my aunts, but I mean, we had the funeral.
We had Brother Ben, who was a great preacher.
Yeah.
Did y'all go to church in Corpus when y'all lived in there?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Who was Brother Ben?
Oh, he was that Granny's preacher.
Oh.
And, what's his name? I forget what his last name was.
All of them were all Baptists?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure.
Where's the cemetery?
It's up there on, south, it's, I don't know what it's called.
Something
If you
short,
go out-
what is that, Shore Drive?
If you go out Shoreline Drive,
Shoreline Drive.
there's a road that runs parallel to that, over a couple blocks from the shoreline. And it goes down and dead ends in the cemetery of Corpus Christi there.
That Spawn Hospital's kind of back there.
Yeah, it's right, it's Spawn Hospital, and then
Was that where
there's,
you were? You were
you're at
Spawn?
Spawn, yeah, and then there's a funeral home about a block from Spawn
Right.
Hospital. You go down that road that the funeral home is on, that's where the,
Oh, okay.
that cemetery is.
Okay.
We may go down there one of these days.
And Granny's buried there?
Yeah, right.
Amber?
Amber, Selena.
Selena's buried there?
Funny thing.
So you went to University of Texas and studied math.
That's true. I had this teacher at Delmar who loved the math department at UT, pure math department. That was before the days of computers, so you didn't have to get into the computer stuff as much to take
Right.
mathematics. We just took pure math. You know, there wasn't supposed to be any practical application to it. We looked down upon the engineering math majors.
If there was, you weren't doing something right.
Yeah, right, that's right. And we just did math for the sake of doing math. It really was good. I minored in philosophy, which was related to, you get higher up in mathematics, you get into philosophy and symbolic logic and stuff like that, and it all kind of runs together.
Huh.
Mathematics is kind of a philosophy, actually, or vice versa. It's philosophical. You don't have to have a mathematical system that says 1 + 1 always equals 2. That's just a convention.
Right.
You just agree that's the way it's going to be, you know, but it doesn't have to be that way. You could have another math that didn't do that. You could have 1 + 1 is 3. It turns out that the math system we have kind of fits the natural world.
Right.
And so that's why it's convenient to do that, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that. It's based upon a set of assumptions, so-called axioms.
Huh.
And the pure math department was dedicated itself to reducing the number of axioms, the number of assumptions you had to make to have a set of math that would work. Or for example, in geometry, if you assume that lines are parallel, if they have that was Euclid did that, but if you have what they call non-Euclidean geometry, which I took a course in, you could assume that parallel lines intersect somewhere. And if you do that, then you get a whole different set of different kind of triangles and stuff.
You need some philosophy to get through all that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not a cookbook mathematics like you
Right.
take in engineering.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was never good at that stuff like that. But this philosophical stuff, I like that.
Well, why would you think that, I mean, because you came basically from a family, I mean, your mom wasn't college educated, your dad, 6th grade, I mean, you know, you didn't have a background like that, I mean, you know, a lot of times.
No, I know, it's just, well, your mother encouraged me to go through college. When I went to the Marine Corps with those guys that were drafted in there, the electronic stuff, and I realized how much I didn't know about anything, how much more they knew about things, and how much there was to know, and I didn't, and how little I did know. I knew when I got out, I need to go to college and learn more about stuff. And your mother encouraged me, you know, and she kept house and cooked and wiped the baby's nose and whatever, you know, all those expressions. And she kind of helped me get through. She did get me through, you know, and I would have never made it without her, you know, keeping me going.
Would it be fair to say that the training that you got in your math, with that way of thinking, really colored or changed the way that you're thinking? I mean, for the rest of your life. I mean, the way you think now. I mean, a lot of it, to me, seems like that you do think that way.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Not necessarily what I'm saying is just rote, you know, like everybody else. I mean, you tend to think things, look at things from different angles. I don't know if you felt like that. That was
Well, that's what you had to do in math, all right. That probably did. Yeah, that probably had something to do with the way I think about things. But luckily enough, I took enough technical courses in college to That's what qualified me to go to work at NASA. At NASA, they had to be what they call aerospace technologists. Well, most people were engineers, but I had enough math and physics and biology and stuff to qualify me to work at NASA. But anyway, I would never made it through college without your mother pushing me. I'd have been off full-time drunkard on who knows what. If I'd been married. I mean, no doubt about it.
Was Granddad living in Austin at the time?
Yeah, he lived in Austin, and he had his business. He was grossing $300,000 or $400,000 a year in that business.
Really?
Back in those days, in the 50s, in the early 60s. I mean, how much gross? Everybody there worked there was stealing from him. And he had more money than he knew what to do with it.
Laying around shoe boxes.
And then run shoe boxes, yeah, everywhere.
Velveeta cheese boxes.
Velveeta cheese boxes, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they had plenty of cheese.
From the company, yeah,
Velveeta
he
cheese,
made
yeah.
all that, had used all that cheese.
Where was his shop at that time?
I was over on 6th Street. One time it was on Lamar, and then later on he moved down one house on 6th Street, and the last one he's down there on
West
6th Street. West 6th Street,
Yeah.
But,
West of Lamar, though.
yeah, he, Paul and David Loaf lived there with him and went to college up there and all, you know. And he helped me get through. If it hadn't been for him, because I had the GI Bill, see, and I worked.
Yeah, yeah.
So between the GI Bill and my working at Trans Texas or Texas International or whatever, it became.
Trans Texas Airlines.
Yeah. I made enough money to do that. I wouldn't work for him then, for Daddy. But, yeah.
So how did we end up moving to Houston?
Well, after I graduated in January of 1960, I started looking around for jobs. I interviewed with the management of the airline, but I talked too much and talked myself out of a job on it.
Oh, really? What position were you going for? The manager trainee or
Some
something?
kind of a sales rep or something like that. I still didn't have any.
You left out 2 kids.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what happened to the other 2?
They were born in Austin.
Yeah, Allison, Robert were born in Austin.
Right.
Yeah. But then when Robert was born in well, actually, I got out in December and then, or January 1960, and then I started looking for jobs and looking at the Houston papers, and finally ended up getting that job with Light Company.
And what was that job?
Well, I was a research analyst, or I forget what they call it. A bachelor's in math didn't qualify you for much to work, I'll tell you.
Right, in the industry.
No.
So how long did you work there?
I worked for 2.5 years. Then I started teaching the class down at U of H. I started working on my master's degree in mathematics, as a matter of fact.
Right.
And I got to graduate school, and I was teaching down at U of H and teaching algebra and analytic geometry and stuff. And then I came along, and I got sick of the Light Company because they were paying so little, and found that job at NASA.
How'd you hear about that?
Oh, the girl in the class with me, Ivy. Remember Ivy?
Yeah. What's her last name?
Oh,
Snyder, huh?
Snyder at that time. She said, well, you ought to come out here and talk to so-and-so, talk to Hum out at NASA. And so sure enough, he got me hired on.
You interviewed with him originally?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and he got me hired. Yeah, she did.
But you had an offer from IBM the same day.
Yeah, I had an offer from IBM at the same time. They wanted me to
You
come
had to
over
choose
there,
between those 2.
do something for them. I'm not sure exactly what,
As
but
a contractor at NASA, or?
no, they were just for IBM for the company. But I decided to go with NASA. That's another whole story.
Yeah, no
Working
kidding.
in the space program and all that stuff. I will say, if you want to record this for posterity, I did send our rings up to the moon now. Don't forget that.
Yeah, that's right.
We got them in a safe deposit box.
Wedding ring.
Our wedding ring, yeah, your mother and I had them inscribed to the moon. We did that on Apollo 12 in 1969. Alan Bean put them on his, what they call a PPK, pilot's personal kit. We put it in the front leg of his suit.
Huh.
And he had his Navy wings and a couple other rings and stuff, and that's what he took in up in the moon with,
Huh.
his personal stuff.
That's when you were working on the suit.
Yeah.
What was your title there?
Oh, I was mission manager. They called it for Apollo 12. We just took care of the GFE stuff, the suits and the backpacks and all that jazz.
Oh, okay. So if they had something go wrong, they'd call you guys and say.
Yeah, we take care of it. We support all their training exercises.
That's a pretty exciting time.
I'm getting sick. Why don't you stay with your mother for a while? We'll finish this up some other time.
Okay. Any other final comments?
No.
Use your philosophy. Say something philosophical.
No. But I mean, I'll just give you the good part. I didn't tell you all the bad parts.
Oh, we don't want all the, we don't know.
No, you don't want to know those. You know, your mother can tell you those.
Okay, that concludes phase one of the.
Phase one, yeah. Well,
Later.
yeah.
Yeah.
We need to know stuff from you that